It is time once more to delve into the world of third-party spells and talk about which ones I really like. It's a very objective measurement system in which the ones that I like on the day are the ones that I usually talk about. It's the kind of scientific objectivity that I know people come here for. That's all nonsense, obviously. Also, I'm going to be wearing this jumper for the foreseeable future. It's really cold, so should we get to the list? Two things are always true in these videos. One is that I refuse to stick to a 10. I refuse to stick to 10. We're going for 11. The first one is an honourable mention as always, and the second is that the rest of the list is in alphabetical order, because I refuse to rank them. SEO demands that I do tier rankings or some such things, but I have no desire to do so. Watch me go back on this in a few weeks when these videos continue to trail off. Maybe it's just because you don't get to these higher level spells as often. I don't know. Whatever the reason. Today's first pick is Mortality, which is from the Grim Hollow Player's Guide. It's an action to cast, and it lasts for a minute if you can concentrate on it. The reason this is my bonus pick is because it's quite niche, but it's really cool. As part of casting the spell, you must expend 5 hit point dice, or the spell fails automatically. Roll the dice that you have expended, then choose an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend within range, and condemn it to a taste of mortality. The creature must succeed on a charisma saving throw, or its hit point maximum and current hit points reduced by the amount rolled on the hit point dice expended to cast the spell. For the duration of the spell, which is a minute, need I remind you, a creature that fails that saving throw loses all damage, immunities, and resistances. Its creature type changes to humanoid, and it takes an additional 1d4 necrotic damage each time it takes damage. Each time it takes damage is nuts. If a creature affected by this spell is reduced to 0 hit points, these changes become permanent and the creature dies. This final effect of the spell can only be reversed if the creature is restored to life and targeted by a remove curse spell or a similar magic. While niche, this is an incredibly powerful spell, especially if you're rocking a monk or a dexterity 2-weapon fighter or something in your party. And it's just super thematic and fun. The idea of this, fiend not being worried about themselves because they know they'll just be reborn in the 9 hells and then being targeted by this and realizing as their immortality slips out of their fingers. It's just peak roleplay and storytelling. It's wonderful. Anyway, boom is our next spell. It's from Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. It's an action to cast and lasts for a minute. No concentration required. You draw the bones from all corpses within range, forming a carapace of rib cages and femurs. You gain temp health for each small or larger corpse, wholly or partly within range, according to its size, that lasts for... The way that this works is that each creature size gives you a dice, as you can see, so 1d6 plus 1 for small, all the way up to 1d20 plus 25 for gargantuan. All of this is added together as you cast the spell, so if you've got 4 small creatures, for example, it would be 4d6 plus 4. You then get that temp health. Just by the by. But you can also use an action on my following turn. You can make the bones erupt, expending all the remaining temp health when you do so. Each creature within range, which is a 20-foot area, even though it doesn't say it in the spell, it says it in the range/area. All creatures within range must make a dex saving throw, or they take piercing damage equal to the expended temp health on a failure, or half as much on a success. Whatever the manner in which the temp health points are lost, the bones shatter and cannot be used in this way again. You can also upcast this with the radius of the spell going up by 10 feet every time you do so. This is just really cool. I don't think I have to say much more about that. What a sick spell. You cover yourself in bones, and then you can have all the bones fly off of you, and you get to shout about bones. What more does anyone want in these trying times? Another Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting spell. I really like this book. I really wish they'd give us the second part. I feel like the last part of the year has just entirely been locked down because Wizards bumped Eberron back so many months. And instead of getting cool third-party stuff outside of Grim Hollow, which obviously I adore, we're just getting first-party stuff. And, it's just not as interesting to me because they're so worried about making stuff powerful and potentially broken that as a result, we usually get these kind of uninspiring designs. It's okay for things to be more powerful than other things. It doesn't actually mean that people are going to always take those things because we've already got the broken stuff in D&D. We've already got Elven Accuracy, for example. We've already got Wish and Conjure Minor and Elementals, which even the fixed version is still a lot of damage. We've already got Eldritch Blast and things like that. The things which are the de facto best... Anyway, that's a whole video concept right there. I'm probably not going to get to it. Anyway, Conjure Anomaly is a minute to cast and it lasts for an hour. It has a range of 90 feet. Just so you're aware. You call forth an aberration at random from the anomalies, which is like a different realm in the Hell ethos. A distant and a bizarre plane. Choose an unoccupied space within range. An aberration of challenge rating 5 or lower, the GM's choice, appears in the space. The aberration disappears when it drops to 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The aberration is friendly to you and your companions for the duration. Roll initiative for it, which has its own turns, and it obeys any verbal commands that you issue to it, which require no action. If you don't issue commands to it, it defends itself from hostile creatures, but otherwise takes no actions. If your concentration on this spell is broken, the aberration doesn't disappear. Instead, you lose all control of it and it becomes hostile towards you and your companions, and it might attack. An uncontrolled aberration can't be dismissed by you, and it still disappears 1 hour after you summon it. If you upcast this, the CR goes up by 1 for each extra spell level you put in, which is cool. This is a Warlock or Wizard spell. It's very fitting thematically, especially if you're going for the kind of like vibe wizard. If you're going for that ancient lost knowledge wizard, then this could fit really well. I like this a lot. We now have a Grim Hollow spell. Speaking of Grim Hollow, this is an hour to cast. It is the Curse of Ill-Fated Fortune, which in brackets should just have 2025, because this year's been awful for so many people. I'm fine. The spell curses a creature within range. The range, by the way, is unlimited, so this is just like anywhere. Anyway, you curse a creature within range. The target must make a dex saving throw against your spell save DC. If the creature succeeds, it takes 3d10 thunder damage and is aware of the fact it was targeted by a curse. Additionally, the creature has disadvantage on the first d20 test it makes within the next minute. It's a good one to set up a fight with, basically. If it fails, it takes 7d10 damage and is cursed. Then, the next time it walks through a doorway, the target stubs its toe or bashes its head, and the curse advances to stage 1. At stage 1, the cursed creature falls victim to minor inconveniences and bad luck. Shops it wishes it to visit close just as it arrives, and equipment breaks at inconvenient moments. Step 2, the cursed creature becomes a beacon of bad luck, as otherwise harmless setbacks become increasingly dangerous. Objects constantly seem to be placed in the creature's way. Additionally, the cursed creature has disadvantage on dexterity, ability checks, and saving throws. And stage 3, the cursed creature becomes dangerously prone to accidents, as even the simplest tasks have unforeseen life-threatening consequences. The cursed creature has disadvantage on initiative checks, its speed is reduced to 10 feet, and it has the prone condition if it misses an attack roll. The culmination of this is that the cursed creature twists into a deformed figure and becomes a Herald of Calamity, which is a special stat block from Grim Hollow. It's a medium undead. It's very cool. It's also got this lovely GM tip bit here, which says that if this is on a player and the curse is culminated, that you should consider letting them use the monster against their friends so that everyone's involved, which is fantastic advice. I am a big fan of getting my players to fight each other, their characters, generally. Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot. There's a lot of work that needs to go into this, but I think it's worth it. It's also a really fun one to potentially use on your players, especially if they're aware of what the curse does, because it puts this lovely little side quest onto a player where they have to try to figure out how to remove this if they don't have the remove curse. It doesn't note how you get rid of this. I think given that it's a curse, it's pretty obvious that you can remove it with remove curse. So yeah. Next is Field of Reaping, which is a Crooked Moon spell. It is 1 action to cast. It has concentration and it lasts up to a minute. You create a shadowy field that reaps escaping life force in a 30-foot cube, originating from a point within range. A creature hostile to you in the field when it appears or when it enters the field for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there is cursed until the end of its next turn. While cursed, the first time the creature takes damage during a turn, it takes an extra 1d6 necrotic damage, and a creature of your choice within the field that isn't cursed regains a number of hit points equal to the necrotic damage taken. This damage goes up by 1d6 for each spell slot you use above. This isn't the most powerful spell until you remember that this isn't during the creature's turn. This isn't a curse during the creature's turn. This is a curse during any turn, which means if you have a party of 4, that all 4 of you can potentially get 1d6 free healing, and you can all get an extra d6 of damage as well, which is wonderful. Next is Gravity Smash, which is another Heliana's one. Man, Heliana's is punching in this spell level, it seems. This is a 120-foot range, 40-foot cylinder, as we'll see. Action as a casting time, concentration for just 1 round. You strike the ground, choosing a point you can see within range to begin accumulating gravity. A 40-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder centered on that point becomes difficult terrain until the start of your next turn. That means it does affect flying creatures. When the spell ends, the gravity reaches a critical magnitude, smashing all creatures in the cylinder downwards. Each creature in the area must make a strength saving throw. If the spell lasts for its full duration and ends at the start of your next turn, then on a failed saving throw, a creature takes 8d10 force damage and knocked prone. If the spell ends before the start of your next turn, a creature takes 4d10 instead. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage and isn't knocked prone. When you cast the spell using a 6th level spell slot or higher, both damage values increase by 1d10 for each spell slot above level 5. It says above 5th, but you know, words are meaningless until you've said them out loud or something. Strength saves are a little risky in D&D generally because a lot of the big monsters are strong, oddly enough. But I really like this as a way to slow down creatures, and also is the imagery is good, right? Especially if you're against a lot of flying creatures. A 40-foot radius is quite sizable, and a 100-foot cylinder is definitely a large enough space to capture a bunch of creatures in it. And the idea of them all struggling to get out before being slammed downwards is sick. The damage is not relevant to what height they are at. I would add falling damage to this as a DM, but I think it's fine either way. Back to Grim Hollow, we have Greater Animate Dead. Choose a number of corpses within range. You can reanimate up to 5 challenge rating 2 or lower undead creatures from these corpses. You get to choose. On each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to mentally command any creature you made with the spell if the creature was within 120 feet of you. If you control multiple, you can command any or all of them at the same time, issuing the same command to each one. So it has to be the same command, but you can command them all. You decide what action the creature will take and where it will move during its next turn, or you can issue a general command, such as to guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no commands, it does the usual stuff. Once given an order, the creature continues to follow it until its task is complete. The creature is under your control for 24 hours, after which time it stops obeying any command you're given. And as with Animate Dead, you can recast this again before the current 24-hour period is over to maintain control. The use of the spell reassert your control on over up to 4 creatures you have animated with this spell, rather than animating a new creature. Additionally, casting the spell in the manner does not require spell components with a gold cost. So it costs some gold the first time, it does not cost gold afterwards. And then each spell slot you go up, you can add another creature, which is super cool. So you lose control of one of the creatures unless you can cast this for a higher level spell slot after the first time you do it. But this is just a really good necromancy spell, basically. Hero of Fable, I believe, is the only Book of Ebon spell here. I actually like a lot of the Book of Ebontide's 5th level spells. The Book of Ebontide's stuff tends to, much like the Cthulhu by Torchlight stuff, tends to fall into the realm of either being far too niche or far too powerful because of the setting that it is within. I don't actually have an issue with that, and I'm more than happy to let a lot of these spells work in the Forgotten Realms or any other setting I'm running, but I know that it's a thing that a lot of people consider. So even though I like them, I'm wary of putting too many of them on these lists because I want them to be things that you can all consider using rather than or buying to use, rather than ones that you're just like, well, that's overpowered, because that's not really why I'm doing this. Anyway, Hero of Fable is an action to cast, and also lasts for a minute if you can concentrate on it doing so. You make a creature capable of great deeds like a storybook champion, and at the same time, empower that creature's foes to become worthy of a hero's attention. The creature of your choice within range gains advantage on all ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws for the duration. At the same time, there's a car going past. At the same time, creatures that attack your target or make a saving throw against a spell or effect originating from your target have advantage on their roll. If your target is unwilling, it must succeed on a charisma saving throw to avoid the effects. At higher levels, you can target an extra creature for every spell level above 6th, so you can only upcast this from 7th level onward, which makes sense. This is a fun spell to have a character play kind of the main character in a fight. It's obviously better when you've got effects that let you not worry about the advantage everyone has on you. Barbarians, but barbarians already have advantage on their attacks because of reckless attacks. This is kind of, to me, this is built for fighters to use on a fighter, but I like it a lot. I also like that you can target other creatures, unwilling creatures, because it lets you all have advantage on them, which is strong. Back to Grim Hollow for Investiture of Venom. Until the spell... Action to cast, 10 minutes concentration. Until the spell ends, your veins bulge and become visibly green beneath your skin. Your eyes weep constantly with liquid poison, and you gain the following benefits. You become immune to poison damage and the poisoned condition. You can determine if creatures you can see within 30 feet of you have resistance or immunity to the poison damage or the immunity to the condition. As a bonus action, you can choose creatures within 30 feet of you. You can choose a creature, within 30 feet of you. That creature makes a con save against your spell save DC, and on a failed save, the creature loses resistance to poison damage and immunity to poison damage and immunity to the... Well, it says or immunity to the poison condition. I would assume it's just all of those, but I could be wrong. Until your next turn, you can choose when you use this ability. So no, it's not. It is just one of them. And then as a magic action, a line of venom 15 foot long and 5 foot wide blasts from you in a direction you choose. Each creature in the line must make a con save. On a failed save, if you take 46 and gain the poison condition until the end of your next turn. On a successful save, they only take half the damage. I just like this as a concept. Investiture of different elements would be a lot of fun. I vibe with it. I'm here for it. Our penultimate spell is another Grim Hollow one. It is Magic Mirror, which is a reaction to cast, and I do love a good reaction spell. A momentary bubble of iridescent energy shimmers in the air between you and a foe. The spell that was targeting you, which is what you take a reaction to, is redirected to a creature of your choice you can see within 60 feet. If the spell is a 5th level or lower, you're no longer the target of the spell and the chosen creature is instead. If the spell is level 6 or higher, you have to make an ability check using your spellcasting modifier, which is DC 10 plus the spell's level. On a successful check, you are no longer the target of the spell and the chosen creature is instead. On a failed check, you remain the target of the triggering spell. So it's like counterspell, but fancy. And I love a fancy counterspell. That's it. Temporal Shunt is probably one that a lot of you don't consider to be third party, but it is. Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. This is a reaction to cast. It for a round. You target the triggering creature, which is any creature making an attack roll or starting to cast a spell. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw or vanish, being thrown to another point in time, causing the attack to miss or the spell to be wasted. At the start of its next turn, the target reappears where it was, or in its closest unoccupied space. The target does not remember you casting the spell or being affected by it. When you cast this of 6th level or higher, you can target an additional creature. The creatures must be within 30 feet of you. What's interesting about being able to upcast this and target more creatures is that only one of them has to trigger the spell itself. So you can, if Dave attacks and his friends, Mark and Franco in the vicinity, you get to punish them all for Dave's foolishness. And that's just a lot of fun. I've seen this used to great effect in campaigns. It's just cool. It's also super niche, as only the Chronergy wizard gets it. Hopefully we get updated versions of those. But yeah, good spell, good spell. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We've still got 6, 7, 8, 9, so what, 4 levels more, and then I'll probably do feats or something. It's nice having a series like this where I can kind of dip into it and I don't have to think too hard, because the builds take a fair amount of psychological effort to make work. Although I've got some fun builds coming up too. And obviously this week we will have the on stuff to start reviewing as well. So expect videos on that as soon as I can get them out. Likely Wednesday and Friday, but we'll see how it goes. But as ever, if you enjoyed this, good. I'm glad. You deserve a little win, a tasty treat for your ears and eyes. If you've had this on as the second screen, which I'm assuming is where I'm sat, hello from the second screen, nearly burst into song. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I really like making these videos. It's a nice little creative outlet and people seem to like them well enough. I hope that you have a good week ahead of you. I hope that you take care and that the rest of the year is kind. But until next time, goodbye.